What is up, guys? We are live. It is Monday night. Yeah, it's Monday night. I'll lose track of the days. Yeah. Yeah, abandoned stream last night, unfortunately. I apologise for anybody who was tuning in for that. For some family issues going on late night. I won't go into too much detail, but yeah, it didn't quite plan out the way I wanted it to. So I thought if I don't stream tonight, then probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is not really an option. So it would have been held back till Friday or Saturday. So I thought, yeah, get this in now. Obviously, totally ripped this idea off from Piz. I think he did a live reaction or live countdown to some related horror top 50 movies of all time, and I thought it's a pretty cool idea. You know, it's a nice, it's something you can do if you're not aware of how the outcome is as well, especially in the chat gets on board. You can interact with the chat, how you think it's going to go, and most lists. I mean, I did a list a couple of weeks ago for Empire magazine, which is a mainstream movie magazine in the UK, for their top 100 movies of all time. And it was quite a generic list. I mean, it was voted for by the readers, so it was quite sort of mainstream, maybe a little bit too mainstream for my liking. So I thought, I saw this list. It's a fairly modern one as well. It's not like it's maybe a year old. It's a website called Paste Magazine, which I occasionally jump on every now and again to see what they think about certain issues. Like they deal with pop culture, music, movies, TV, and stuff. But this was voted for by, I think, the writers of the website. So it's a lot more eclectic. I didn't dive into it too far. I just looked at the first 20 entries. And when I saw that the Blair Witch Project was 100, I thought, well, this is interesting because, this is a movie that will probably feature maybe a lot higher in some cases with some websites. And in the first 20 entries, there was movies I've never even heard of, let alone seen. So I thought, well, this is interesting. I'll be curious to know how it goes with some of my sort of favorite IPs. Where will Halloween feature? Will Halloween feature? It didn't even feature in Halloween in Empire magazine's top 100 movies of all time, which I was pissed about. Big T, yeah. What's up, Big T? Excited to hear this list. Yeah, Savoy. That's a new subscriber, maybe. I've not seen him in the chat before, unless JT knows who Savoy is. On the subject of JT, let's just bring him on now. What's up, man?
What's up, guys?
Yeah. I'm not sure if Savoy was one of your subscribers who's migrated over to my channel.
No. What's going on, Savoy?
Nice to see you on board, man. Or lady. I'm not gonna judge. I don't know. That's the thing with YouTube handles. You're never quite sure who's who. Corey's on board as well. What's up, Corey?
Hey, what's up, man? What's up, Big T?
Yeah, this is a list that I kind of like spotted. I'm always like I've got a bit of a fetish for movie lists and album lists, and how they pan out. And it's curious to see just how opinions change over the years as well. We've got another new subscriber as well, the Entertainment Hideout. Well, I'm assuming maybe a new subscriber.
She's on the Midnight Hour and stuff. That's
okay.
On the net.
Well, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please, consider subscribing because JT is pretty much a permanent fixture on my channel. So if you're a big fan of JT, then
I like in the back.
You might as well subscribe to my channel as well because JT's always here. Oh, Savoy's come from Christian's channel. Oh, nice. That's nice to know. Thank you for jumping on board anyway, man. So it's kind of like with movie lists, I've kind of got a bit of a fetish for them. I do like going online and just reading, 100 greatest albums of all time or greatest movies of all time or whatever it is. But it is curious to see how times change. I remember looking back over some of I've got magazines dating back to the 90s where they do these 100 greatest albums of all time. And what's interesting to know is that a lot of the time with these myth lists, they include a lot of my look at my dogs just like trying to get my attention. Um, no, I'm not. Um, they feature a lot of like very very modern stuff, and it usually takes a few years for that a lot of this more modern stuff to kind of get weaned out almost, because the good stuff will stick around. But with a lot of modern lists, you know, be it movies or albums, they do tend to sort of, if it's a public vote, they do tend to vote for something really, really modern. You need to give a lot of these lists sometimes 10, 20 years to let them.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, look how like Halloween 3 Season of the Witch started
Yeah,
with the
exactly.
on that movie, and then
Yeah,
20 years later and stuff. Now you
yeah,
see that so many people's
yeah,
best.
yeah. It's especially true with music. A lot of our, you know, I mean, going back
Oh,
to the 90s, watching some of these best albums from the 90s, which were actually lists that were released in the 90s. It was albums from bands who now are pretty much disappeared, and the albums were very much at the time. They haven't aged very well, you know. Whereas the classic albums, just you know, they span generations, you know.
oh, for sure.
There's certainly albums out there which I was fans of when I was younger, and I look back at now and I just think, you know, what was I thinking? Or even if no matter how great I thought they were at the time, they've just kind of really, really dated. But yeah, I just thought this list was quite interesting to me. It seemed to be something that was a little bit more, looked quite artsy. It looked there's a lot of like, looks like there's going to be quite a fair bit of foreign cinema, which I just want to be enlightened about some of these movies, because I watched Moloch today on Shudder.
How was that?
I know it was very good. I know
Yeah.
Lorne raved about the film. I think he said he thinks it's better than The Wicker Man, which is high praise indeed. You know, I really enjoyed it. I just like to move. It's just good to get away from American cinema just for a while.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
That's
it's
why
just
I love Italian films so
yeah.
much.
I just after watching, I mean, I watched Wakanda Forever, which was just boring as hell. I mean, just so. I mean, it's not really. That's not really a thing about American cinema. It's just superhero cinema. It's just so dull now. It's just. Then I watched Black Adam, which was just more of the same. It's just special effects. It's paper thin characters.
Yeah.
We don't offer anything. It's just, and I just needed to get, you know, watch something which is like, you know, with fully formed characters, with, you know, wasn't people just jumping around the screen firing laser beams at each other? You know, it's just, it's nice to get back to something. Okay, it's supernatural horror. It's not in any way real world, but it just feels more grounded in reality, and that in some sense.
Funnily enough, I was just watching Puppet Master 4, and they were running around shooting lasers.
Well, that's grounded in reality. I mean, totally grounded in reality.
Of course, that's as real as you can get. I told you Barbarian the other night or last night, and Smile and Piggy. So I caught up on a few 2022s that I haven't seen.
Yeah, I know. I was going to check Piggy out. Lauren's in the chat. What's up, Lauren? Yeah, I was going to check Piggy out, and Chris is in the chat as well. So Chris, yeah, I was going to check Piggy out, and I just got sidetracked. You didn't like it, right? You didn't like it?
Yeah, it was a good performance by the main lead. It's a Spanish film. Yeah. I wish the one on where I saw it, it was English dubbed. So I don't like. I always prefer to watch a movie in its native language with subtitles. So I don't know if that version exists somewhere, but I watched it somewhere that it was just bad English dubbing.
You do not want to watch an English dub movie unless it's a film that's so bad that it's funny.
Yeah,
oh my god.
Exactly. Like
for the first time, I know I've made it. I've got sex bots in the channel. So nice. For the first time ever, I'm gonna have to ask my mods to go on. I'm pretty sure everybody's a mod on my channel who's regular in the chat. But this is the first time I've ever had sex bots in the chat.
Yeah, I've never had any in my now I look forward to.
If the mods could do their job, I'm sure I've made everybody mods on my channel. I'm pretty sure. Because I'm pretty sure 69mega.com looks like we found the girl for you is not a subscriber.
No, not a
Pretty
sign.
Anyway, yeah, we were talking about Piggy, weren't we? Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I say, it's if a movie's hilariously bad, sometimes that really bad English dubbing over it can make it a better movie. But yeah, in the case of Piggy, I think I would rather see it in its original form with the Spanish.
Yeah, how I felt, but it probably wouldn't have even saved the movie. Like it was just slow paced, and like maybe like the last 20 minutes was all right, but I think it was based off a short film from a few years prior, and they expanded it into a full length feature. But
well, they did that. They did that with Lights Out, and that Lights Out was a terrible movie, I thought. So
they did that with Excision too. You ever see Excision from with Annalyn McCord and
I don't think I've seen that.
Lord, that's a good one from 2012. That was based off a short from a few years prior. The feature is better actually, which is surprising. A lot of times the short's better, then they make a feature length out of it, and it's not as good. But I love that movie, Excision.
Ben's in the chat. What's up, Ben? Ben's got this pace list as a letterbox list. Big Crack Rock's in the chat as well. We better get this chat because this is going to take a while. Because the last time I did a top 100 movies, it took a while, and I didn't even have anybody to bounce off. So this could be a long one. So let me just. You're right. What do I do? I press. I always forget what to do. It's present, isn't it? Share screen.
Yes.
And then go to Chrome tab. There we go. And let me know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. As soon as I
also anyone let me know along the way if my camera starts stuttering, because for some reason when my laptop is plugged in for long charging, it happens to do that, so I can unplug it.
Yeah, and as soon as I opened up that tab, I started to echo, although it's not as bad now. So yeah, so
yeah, you
am I coming through okay now?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Yeah, it's okay. I wasn't sure with opening this tab whether it was going to affect the audio, but it seems to be fine. So yeah, so basically, yeah, 100. The only thing that annoys me about this sharing the screen is I can't see the chat now. So I'm gonna have to get. Is there any way around that?
I don't know.
Am I gonna have to go onto my phone to see the chat? I think that's the only option I've got, really.
If you want, I'll keep it not full screen. I can see the chat if you're going to stay in full screen.
It's all right. I'll go into chat. It's all right. Yeah. So we got Blair Witch Project at 100. We'll go through 20, 100 to 80, and then we'll leave this and we'll go back into full screen, whatever. Yeah. But so yeah, Blair Witch Project at 100. That's what got my interest in this list, because I don't think you really see a 100 horror movies of all time, and the Blair Witch is at 100.
Yeah,
you probably expect to see this a fair bit higher, just on the impact it had on.
That's cinema. What I was going to say. I would put it higher just for the making of it, the marketing campaign, the lore it created. Anyone who follows me knows I'm not a fan of the Blair Witch Project, the first one.
I mean, I do like the movie. I mean, I wouldn't put it. I certainly put it higher than 100 though.
Yeah, 100 is too low for it.
Yeah. Number 99, we have now. This is a movie I've never heard of. Lorne will definitely have heard of this. Haxan or Witchcraft. I'm assuming it's got two different titles. Witchcraft Through the Ages from 1922. So it's 100 years old.
Weird silent film.
Yeah, I don't know what this film is. I have no idea, and I can't imagine I'd ever be able to see it streaming anywhere. I don't even know if this film does it even exist physically anymore. I don't know.
On YouTube you can probably find it.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I've never heard of this movie, so I can't put any comments on that. But that's where the chat comes in, because for pretty much every film, I'm sure there'll probably be someone who's got some awareness of it. If they haven't, even if they haven't seen it, they'll know something of why it's in the top 100. 98, The Conjuring, obviously from 2013. And again, this is a film I'd place higher. I do really like the film. I think this film is the best of the three.
I
Sorry,
like the
JC.
second one, actually.
Yeah,
Better than the first one, mostly just because I've looked into both cases, all the cases and stuff that the Warrens did, which I'm not going to comment on them, but just I like the whole Enfield haunting case.
the thing that makes the first film better for me than the second one is that, being from the UK, the whole setup for the second one in this small house on a residential street, and let's face it, it's North London, so it's a very built up area. It's hard to get scared by a movie for me that's set, which is so close to what I recognize.
Yeah,
it's like The Conjuring 1. It's like it's a rural farmhouse in the middle of nowhere. You can imagine scary shit happening there, but the idea that just this house in London, it's like
yeah.
you're surrounded by hundreds of thousands of people. It's not like you're in the middle of nowhere, so it kind of takes it away. It kind of takes me out the movie a bit, just because I just can't get scared over something that's so familiar to me. But Lorne says Haxan is actually on YouTube, so I'll have to try and check that out. Number 97 is the Burning at 97. Right, okay.
That's too high, too low for it.
Definitely too low. Yeah. I mean, I used this in the thumbnail because I knew it was in the first 20 films. So it's no shock to me that it's this low, but I'm glad to see it. Full stop.
Exactly. Glad that it.
I mean, this is a movie for me that's just. I didn't see this film till mid 90s because it was on that infamous banned movie list from the 80s, from the Video Nasties list in the UK. So it finally got a release for, I think, sometime in the early 90s. Saw it in about 95. I watched it as a double header with Halloween 2. I mean, I've seen Halloween 2 before, obviously, but it kind of felt like a good, double header for a night. But absolutely loved it. The raft scene is just iconic.
It's such a great scene.
I just loved. I mean, I loved the opening scene as well. And the hospital scene. Where, he shows him had the burns, and he's just what the fuck.
Oh man, this guy's charred like a hamburger. That guy's so funny, that character. And just Tom Savini's effects are just amazing.
Definitely. Well, didn't he? He did this over Friday Part 2, right? Didn't he?
Yes, he picked this over Friday Part 2, which I'll always wonder, because if you watch Friday Part 2 and this one, they both have a near identical scene with the campfire scene.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, yeah.
The story of Jason, and in the burning, telling the story of Cropsey, and then somebody pops out and scares the shit out of everyone. Yeah. So it had to have been Savini who saw the script for Part 2 Friday, or somebody saw both scripts, because they came out the same year, and it's way too coincidental to have it's almost identical, that scene.
96, see another movie, They Look Like People, from 2015. Never seen it, never heard of it. I don't know if it's American or British or European. I've no idea. So I cannot comment. 95, another movie I've never heard of, In Fabric.
I've heard of it. I never saw it.
Yeah. As I say, it's that's the thing about this this list. It just, in the first 20 movies, it throws up a fair few movies I've not heard of. So I don't know how they'll go further down towards 20 to 1, whether it's going to be more mainstream. I imagine it probably would be more bound to be stuff I've heard. But this guy's connected, who directed, it's connected to Barbarian Sound Studio from 2012, which is a movie I've not seen, but it's a movie I want to see. It's kind of influenced by the Shallows of the 70s.
Oh,
nice. Toby Jones, who's a fantastic actor. He's the main lead in that film. So if he's in it, it's not going to be crap, because he doesn't do crap. 94, Sato. This is definitely going to give me some sort of foreign movie. It looks. So it's something along the lines of The Witch, The Blair Witch Project, and Lovecraft. So I've not seen that movie. I'll probably be saying that a fair few times over the stream, but so In Fabric is an A24 movie, a possessed dress film, strange but fun movie. Says Ben. I didn't know. I thought it was quite up to date on A24 movies. I didn't even know
I've never heard of this one.
Yeah.
Usually, at least I've heard of them, but
yeah. 93 is this is a movie I saw recently, The Invitation. From 2016.
Oh, it's in a party,
yeah. It's set like in the Hollywood Hills, like a bunch of like it's actually a really effective movie.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I went into it like not really knowing too much about it, but I just know there's the guy from Upgrade, Logan Marshall Green.
Like Winnell's movie Upgrade.
Yeah. I really the ending's really cool as well. You know that this cult who've just like taken over like basically Hollywood. Basically, you know, you just see it's all going off everywhere, and even though they've managed to stop what was going on in where they are, it's just basically it's spread all over the area. So yeah, I really like the ending to that film.
It reminds me a little of Starry Eyes with the whole cult and Hollywood and that whole same type of topic.
I'm sure that movie will be in this list somewhere. 92 Paranormal Activity from 97.
Never been a fan.
No, not me neither. I've seen the first couple, but I just kind of checked out after that.
Yeah, I can't get. I've seen the first 3, maybe 4. There's like 7 of them now, or something like that.
Yeah. I think they're making it. Maybe making an 8th even.
I'm sure. Yeah, I think there is another one coming. That movie though, more than Blair Witch, I feel like Paranormal Activity was what 09 the first one? Yeah, or 07.
This 07. Yeah, I think that and Blair Witch are like they're like the 2 main.
Really kicked off the found footage.
Definitely. My dog is. I'm just gonna let my dog out because she's really getting on my nerves. Just give me 2 seconds.
Sure. Well, since Blair Witch was 100, I guess there's no chance of seeing Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2 on this list. As I am one of the 20 people on the planet who love that movie.
Okay, I'm back.
I'll be right back. I'm just going to grab another light.
Okay. I'll just quickly jump back into the chat. So Lorne says, so far, Blair Witch is the only one I put in the top 100. Lorne, have you heard of all of these films? Is there anything you've not heard of? I want to catch you out, Lorne. I want it to be a movie that you don't know. You know what? Lorne, Book of Shadows might be in this list. You know, it could be in this list. It's pretty eclectic. It's thrown a few curveballs in there. So I wouldn't be surprised if it pops up. Entertainment Hideout. I haven't seen The Invitation. The Invitation's it's a pretty solid film. It kind of plays into the whole sort of it's a movie that probably wouldn't work anywhere. The setting is obviously it's meant to be like the Hollywood Hills, and it probably wouldn't work anything. It probably wouldn't work in many other locations. It works really well in the Hollywood Hills. It's the whole kind of like it just feels right to be set there. This is not a movie that would work, you know, in some backwater. It definitely needs to be that sort of setting. Lauren's seen everything so far. Yeah, you've probably seen every movie on this list, to be fair. And I think that the higher up we go, I think the chances of you not seeing one of the films is pretty small. So I think
I can't find my other lights. So it's spooky mode for me here.
Yeah, so good, man. Let's just jump back into it then. Right. Hang on a minute.
See, Lauren loves Book of Shadows too. Awesome. See? Right. Some people do love Blair Witch too.
Okay, so
I'm trying to get Joe Berlinger on for an interview. Hopefully in February I'll get him on.
Number 91, we got Creepshow from 82, another classic I would have been higher.
Definitely should be higher.
Yeah. I mean, is it beyond the realms of possibility that Creepshow 2 is higher up the list? You never know. You never know. I do love The Raft. I do love The Raft
just as much.
Yeah, certainly Creepshow 40 years old this year as well makes me feel old. But yeah, I mean, this is like the definitive sort of like, horror anthology, isn't it? It doesn't this. That would be a question which I don't know an answer to, and again, I'll put it out to the chat, and Lorne will probably have an answer. What was the first like horror anthology movie? Like, what did it first? Because I know.
Well, I know Trilogy of Terror came before this.
Yeah,
Trilogy of Terror was late 70s, I want to say.
Yeah, there's probably something going back to like the
yeah.
You never know. I mean, I anything before the 60s, I'm completely lost on. So I'm not very clued up on the 60s either. So it's kind of like, but anyway, number 90, we've got Black Christmas at 90. That's outrageous.
That's insane.
That is outrageous.
For a second, I thought it was one of the remakes. I was going to say, get out of
here. Yeah, but well, not 2019, hopefully, but that is crazy low. That for me is a top 10 movie.
Absolutely, especially just for how much influence it had on the slasher genre.
I mean, the opening scene is just Halloween owes it some debt there, because that opening shot is so, it's not shot for shot, but like Carpenter must have. I've asked this question before.
He was friends with Bob Clark.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, it's just an iconic opening. There's so many classic scenes.
Phone calls alone.
The phone calls alone. I mean,
they made them so creepy sound. To this day, they're so effective.
Like, dropping the C word in a movie in '74.
Oh yeah, it was big.
It's just like you didn't hear that, throughout the 70s and 80s, and like mainstream American movies didn't have the C word.
Yeah,
it was pretty much unheard of. I mean, UK films had it like in every sentence, but I mean that's beside the point. 89,
no, that's criminally low.
Yeah, The Stuff, 89. Love The Stuff. It's a great movie. It's not. Is it? I think this is a case in point where it's probably around about the right placing.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have The Stuff like in the top 50 or anything, but ahead of Black Christmas, no, definitely not. Yeah. 88 Lake Mungo. I only watched this recently. Really enjoyed it.
But it's probably one of the most realistic feeling and sounding like faux documentary found. I can't even really call it found footage, but it gets lumped in that genre a lot. But
it's kind of like a documentary, basically.
And it's so realistic.
Yeah,
like you show it to somebody and like not say it's a movie, like you'll get a lot of people thinking it's real.
Yeah.
Great job with that.
87 Goodnight Mommy, which I've not seen. It is on my to watch list.
I haven't seen it either.
But I've not seen it for 2014. I'm guessing is it a foreign movie? Because looking at the directors, looks, I don't know if it's European maybe, but yeah, I've not seen this movie. It is on my list. 86 The Wolfman from 1941. I've not seen. Yeah, this is obviously a very, 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 not really sort of. I mean, I probably would enjoy it if I watched it. But with a lot of these movies, it's a case of like, where do I mean, if they're available on Blu-ray, I mean, with some of these older movies, do you're getting like the sort of I don't know, it's like, are you getting the best cut of the movie? Is there like various different? Because when a movie's so old, is there like different versions, or do you know if it's, it's just...
yeah, I'm not the one to ask with the Universal monster movies, but I know werewolves in general, just not a big subgenre of horror. We need more werewolf movies.
Yeah. Again, is The Wolfman from 41? Like, is this the first example of a werewolf on film? I don't know.
So I think
85 is Carnival of Souls. Obviously, I mean, I see this a long time ago, but definitely a movie I expected to see in the top 100. Again, it's just a movie that I saw such a long time ago, and it's not. See, a lot of these older movies, I probably do need to revisit them, because a lot of these older movies I actually saw probably when I was too young to really appreciate them.
Yeah,
a lot of these movies a lot of these movies were shown like when I was a kid back in like the sort of like late 80s, early 90s. They weren't that old at the time, so it's funny to think it's, you know, if you think back to like the early 90s when I was like, you know, 16, 17. These movies were only 30 years old. They weren't that old. And you get some of these movies shown fairly often on like normal, you know, what we call terrestrial TV in the UK. But as time's gone on, as we've become further removed from like this era, terrestrial TV in the UK doesn't show films like this anymore. They just show, they'll show like the 40-year-old virgin for like the 15,000th time, or you know, it's just it's a sad state of affairs. It really is, because the BBC, especially the BBC, used to show, you know, a lot of like old school, like 60s, 50s horror movies back in the day, and they just don't do that anymore. But 84, The Host. This film really, I think, is so overrated. I really don't like The Host that much.
I can't. I like it actually.
I think it's too long. I think it's half an hour too long. It just goes on and on.
It doesn't really take away from it for me though. I gotta rewatch. That's one I gotta rewatch too. Actually, this isn't gonna be cool going down this list, because it's gonna remind me of movies I haven't seen in a while that I gotta rewatch.
83, we've got A Dark Song. Never heard of it, from 2017.
A Dark Song? Nah, I haven't either.
No, I don't know anything about this film, so can't comment. But if you've seen it in the chat, please let us know, because these films will be added to my watch list, because there's a lot of shit that I haven't watched. Sorry, there's a lot of good stuff I haven't watched, but there's a lot of shit I've watched recently. So I need to try and reverse that and try and start watching more good stuff and less shit. 82, The Bad Seed. This rings a bell.
I've seen it.
Don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, it's like one of the first. Well, whenever you want any type of like premise for a movie, I always say like, who knows if it's been done how many times before, but kind of like in the vein of like The Good Son, like the evil movie. But I haven't seen it in a long.
It looks like it's got a bit of a Children of the Damned feel, like, you know, like evil possessed blonde, blue-eyed kids. I don't know, but
I think it's just this one girl, this one kid who's just fucked up.
Yeah,
that's not what she's supposed to be.
81. We'll do one more and then we'll just jump in the chat. Society from 89. Obviously, Brian, isn't it? Yeah, great film.
Great movie.
Obviously, Billy Warlock from Baywatch is the male lead, which I don't think many people would have saw coming, but quite a dark turn going from Baywatch to this. But
I love almost everything Yosin has done.
Yeah. The final scene, like that crazy orgy of like, just
the party, the orgy party.
Yeah,
such a great effects too.
Yeah,
great practical effects in that.
So that's up to it. Let's just jump back in the chat and see what people are saying. I'm trying to think where I was up to actually, because okay, so Big T says this list is making me add a lot of new movies to my watch pile. Definitely. Yeah, so far Blair Witch. Well, this is earlier on, so Lorne may have changed his mind, but up until 10 movies ago, Blair Witch is the only movie that Lorne put in his top 100. Entertainment Title says haven't seen Invitation. You definitely need to check it out. Lorne obviously loves Book of Shadows, and it was Lorne's seen everything so far. Big Crack says, I think you hit the wrong button and censored it. Well, I haven't censored anyone, so if one of the mods is accidentally does Entertainment Hideout come back in, or I hope? Oh, there they are. I say I'm not. I don't know who was censoring the sex bots. So I'm just glad I've got sex bots in the chat. That makes me feel like I've made it as a YouTuber, because I see it in all the other bigger channels. So when I see it, I'm like, oh, cool.
Sex bots in the chat, you're making it a little bit.
Big T says, speaking of Paranormal Activity, has anybody picked up the new 4K set? See, like a movie like Paranormal Activity and the sequels, what does a 4K, what does it offer in terms of like picture quality? Because you're talking about a movie that is basically a lot of CCTV footage. So like, where's the incentive to buy a 4K of a movie like that? It's not. If it was like Dune, which I probably will pick up a 4K at some point because I fucking love that film.
Yeah.
But a movie like Paranormal Activity, I mean, if you've already got the Blu-ray, where would be the incentive to like go a step up? It just seems
like that with a lot of found footage movies, like especially like the ones that is like the VHS series, that they're supposed to be that type of VHS quality to it.
Yeah. So why would you want to upgrade to?
Yeah, if you upped it to the highest that you possibly can to 4K.
Chris says, Mike is dropping the hammer, boys. I remember the Book of Shadows DVD release that had the CD soundtrack on the B side of the movie. I wish more movies did that.
Yep.
Yeah, DVDs back in the day, they offered more. Not even though the picture quality, obviously now we're getting like with 4K and ultra 4K. But the drop in steelbooks, I think that sometimes they were a bit more original in what they offered back in the early days of like DVDs and stuff. That they were coming up with something a bit more interesting occasionally. Because it was such a new concept. They just throw in random things, whereas like a lot of the things now, steelbook, they play it a little bit safe with what they're doing. It's just like, but I mean that's just me. I mean, I always remember like this sort of like with the old school DVDs, when you get like a movie and you'd navigate your way through the menu and it was kind of related to the movie a lot of the time. And it was like, I used to love that. But
that had a special quality to like early DVD when they first started coming out and getting big.
Ben says, Mike, don't play. Lawrence says Dead of Night. That may have been. See, that's the thing. When I've missed the chat, I'm clicking on comments and I've lost what the relevance was to the comment. So, apologies, Lorne. Savoy says, "Is there one called Asylum from the 1970s?" And he agrees about Black Christmas.
Yeah, Black Christmas was on this list.
Yeah, Chris says this is the weirdest list ever. Asylum is Robert Bloch stories. What?
That's you.
When did I do that?
I don't know. Did you black out for a second at any point?
That's not me, is it? Is that me?
Yeah, that's you. That's you too.
I don't remember typing anything away.
At least that one makes.
But somebody hasn't hijacked my. I don't remember doing that. Ben says, I like the dummy story from Dead of Night. The golf one was strange. Must be a cat on his keyboard.
I think he was talking about anthologies when we were talking about earlier anthologies.
Yeah, maybe. I wonder if that was my dog, which just like jumped on the keyboard.
Oh, yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, might check your keyboard. Oh, what's up, Bunny? What's up? See you on board. Banning new viewers like a savage, yeah. So Lorne says possibly the first werewolf movie is Werewolf of London from 1935.
Okay, so 6 years earlier, 7 years.
Big T says, no, don't make up. Oh, you can do what you want, Big T. It's okay. It's all good. Good Night Mom is a weird movie. I do definitely need to check that one out. Lorne says Carnival of Souls is the most clear-cut example of Lynchian filmmaking.
Oh yeah, for sure. It has a very Lynch feel to it, and I know he was inspired by. I know he likes that movie like a lot.
Ben says A Page of Madness from the 1920s was wild in its style. The Untamed Heart, The Wolfman '94 is one of my favorite black and white movies. Yeah, Big T's just pretty. Yeah, it's an interesting list. You may not agree with everything they say, but it's certainly, it's certainly throwing up some curveballs.
Yeah.
Need to watch Carnival of Souls, but haven't. Let's jump back. I can't keep up with the chat. The chat's flying tonight, man. Thank you very much, everyone on board. I'll just jump back into. I'll come back to the chat. Well, let's do 79 to 60. Okay. So number 79 is number 80. Sorry, Friday the 13th. Sean will not be happy. Sean, I've seen Sean Cunningham. I'm thinking of saying Sean. Lorne, not Sean. Lorne will not be happy with this placing because obviously this is Lorne's favorite Friday the 13th movie, and I don't think Jason X is going to be making an appearance higher than this either. Lorne,
the first one, I could see that.
Yeah,
Four is my favorite. Oh, I think it's my favorite slasher film of all time.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see whether 4 or 6 make an appearance in this list. I doubt it somehow, but it's one of those, isn't it? It's like whenever you see these lists on websites and in magazines, it's like they always seem to place the first movie as like the film, that's the best Friday the 13th movie. But everybody knows that the fans regard 4 and 6 as the 2 best films. It's not even debatable. Pretty much every list I've seen on Letterboxd or on YouTube, it's just like, the fans, whenever they do their top 10, top 13, top 12 Friday movies, whatever it is, most put 4 and 6. If they're not 1 and 2 or 2 and 1, or they're always in the top 5. It's just so. I mean,
4 and 6 are put up at the top of that list most of the time.
Yeah, but Friday, I would place this. I'd place this higher than 80 though. I think it's such an important movie as well. I mean, I think this. I know people talk about most influential slasher movies of all time. I know people talk about Black Christmas and Halloween. And Black Christmas was 74, and nothing really happened for a few years. And Halloween was 78, and 79 wasn't really a year that was known for slashers, really. But if you look at this film that came out in 80, if you look at the amount of slashers that dropped in 81, it really, really did. Now, I'm not saying it certainly wasn't the first slasher movie by far, but I think this film.
I always cite Mario Bava's Twitch of the Death Nerve as having the most influence on the genre.
Yeah.
And that was 71.
Yeah.
To the point, Friday Part 2, like up and stole.
Well, they basically did they admit to basically stealing some stuff, or did
Steve Miner said he never saw the film, which is.
Did you believe in them?
I don't believe him for a second. The whole spear through the bed kill from Friday.
Yeah,
it's completely the exact same from Bay of Blood, Mario Bava, like identical the way it shot, everything. So there's no chance that Miner didn't see that movie.
So 79, we've got We Are Still Here, which film is on my watch list, but I've not seen. Yeah, people saying is it unsettling as It Follows. Now I'm curious to see where It Follows is on this list.
Yeah,
it better be on this list. That's all I'm saying.
But, it should.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. But I mean, so I've not seen this film. So in the chat, if you've seen it, obviously give us your opinion. It is on my to watch list though. 78, The Curse of Frankenstein. Now I've seen this movie, I'm sure, probably a couple of times back in the day as a kid. But I mean, it all becomes a bit of a blur as you get older.
Yeah.
The amount of movies I watched as a kid, like these Hammer movies, I can't distinguish one from the other. So I'm sure I've seen it, but I don't remember when.
I know I've seen it. It's a long time ago that I've seen it.
Yeah. 77, Hereditary. Ooh, I thought this would be a lot higher.
Yeah, I would too.
Definitely thought this would be a lot higher. This is turned into quite an interesting list, to say the least. Because going what we've seen so far, I would have thought this would be the people who vote. Obviously, it's the writers, the website.
Yeah,
I would have thought they would have been placing this top 20.
20. Yeah, that's what I
So
was thinking.
it's quite interesting that this is so low, really, because I mean, for a lot of people,
My favorites the last 15 years, maybe.
yeah,
Love
it's
her. Midsommar, even more, maybe.
I love Midsummer. I mean, I prefer Midsummer to Hereditary. I think Midsummer's a better film. I know it's a controversial statement,
Yeah.
but I actually think Midsummer's a better movie. But again, Lorne won't be happy with 77 for this because I know Lorne really loves Hereditary. But yeah, that's a controversial one. That's probably the most controversial.
So far.
I would say so far.
Christmas too, yeah.
Well, yeah, that as well. That is very controversial. I suppose Blair Witch at 100 is controversial, especially. But 76 is The Nightmare. Never heard of this film. 2015. Never heard of this film.
No, I mean,
it's a documentary, basically, similar to Room 237. Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to go into. I don't really want to read the synopsis too much because I kind of like want to add these to a list. And then go in blind. So I'm not really, if I don't know the film, I'm not really going to go into reading the synopsis as well. I'll just go in blind. So I'll acknowledge it and then kind of move on. But if people in the chat want to obviously comment on it, feel free, and I will obviously highlight the comments. If you want to talk about it, fair enough. But I'm not going to like go into it too much detail because, like I say, it looks interesting. But yeah, I don't know anything about it. 75 Cabin in the Woods, 2012. Knew it was going to be here, and I think this is kind of where they expected it to appear.
Kind of right. Yeah, I wouldn't put it in like the top 50, but
yeah,
I think it's good where it is.
The fact that it's ahead of Friday the 13th as well is strange because it's it's like when you look at Friday the 13th, the original, and this movie, this is totally sort of just taking that movie and just going with it. But I mean, yeah, I definitely expected to see this in the list at some point.
It's a horror comedy too, so
yeah, definitely.
I think
no issues with this being there. Just funny seeing Chris Hemsworth as before he was 4.
Yeah.
I think this movie made in 2010, but was delayed. I'm sure it was delayed for like a couple of years.
You're breaking up
Am I?
It was.
I'm okay now?
Yeah, you were breaking up for a sec, but you sound better now. Yeah, you're good now.
Because I'm pretty sure that
I think it was earlier than
4. He did 4 in 2011, and I think what it was, they made this movie in 2010. He did 4 the following year, and they held back, and then released it in 2012 to capitalize on the fact that he was 4.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So they put him front and center as like the main character, because obviously
it was 2012 or 2010.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. I don't know
why. 74. We've got Wreck.
Great one.
I do like Wreck. It's I've not seen the American remake. I don't know whether I need to see that. Is it just like a shot for shot remake, or is it like do something?
I don't think I ever saw the remake Quarantine. I just Wreck is a great found footage movie.
Yeah.
So I just never bothered with the remake.
I've never seen I know there's a sequel, or maybe there's at least one sequel I've never seen.
Yeah,
I didn't really feel the need to see a sequel. I thought like it did everything that needed to be done.
Yeah.
In the one movie,
that's a top tier like found footage movie though.
Yeah,
Wreck.
Definitely. 73. We've got Henry Portraits of a Serial Killer from 86.
That's a great one.
Yeah, definitely. Just a grimy, dirty sort of like so it's one of those movies you feel like you need to take a shower when you've watched it. It's just.
I actually just rewatched it for the first time in a long time, like a few months ago.
Yeah, Michael Rooker's fantastic in that movie.
Oh, he's great. The second one, there's a sequel, but now with Rooker in it.
Yeah, I mean the fact that saying that the film was shot for like $100,000. I mean, it doesn't look like $100,000 movie at all. It doesn't look like a big budget movie, but it looks like a movie that was at least, when you consider that Halloween was filmed on a $300,000 budget, like nearly
Yeah.
10 years earlier, and you think, it's what they did with $100,000, because $100,000 doesn't go far when making a movie, it
Yeah,
really
of course.
doesn't. And it looks grimy, but it doesn't look grimy in the way that low budget grimy. It just looks like they had
Yeah, it
a
has
decent
that
amount of
great.
money and they gave it that grimy look to it. And it's set in Chicago. I mean, I can only imagine just like Chicago in the 80s, just like being like, some of these neighborhoods in Chicago in the 80s were just like, pretty grim. Because speaking of experience, like the 80s, like where I grew up wasn't too bad, but the other parts of the city where I grew up, 80s was just a pretty grim time. The early 80s especially was just, with a lot of poverty, and it wasn't a
Yeah.
great time. But
Well, a lot of filmmakers back then, I know with Maniac from 1980, they just did a lot
yeah,
of guerrilla filmmaking. They didn't have permits and shit. They would just be in and out shooting in locations that they didn't have a right to be there. They
yeah.
would just go and get the scene shot, and then they just book it out of there.
72 Opera, obviously Argento. Yeah, I mean,
Argento's last excellent film, in my opinion.
is your favorite?
No, I think it's his last.
Sorry. Oh, his last excellent movie. What's your favorite Argento?
It's a three-way tie between Deep Red, Tenebrae, and Opera, actually.
Right.
So it is high up for me.
Yeah. I mean, I still haven't seen Deep Red. I know.
You
I
gotta
need to.
see
I know. I need to see that film.
Deep Red watch party sometimes.
I know. I know. I mean, I'm definitely a Suspiria and Tenebrae guy, and Inferno not really my thing. To be fair,
No, I can see.
Inferno's a little bit too out there for me.
I love Inferno. I think it's a great follow-up to Suspiria. I think Suspiria is his best film.
Yeah, I do love the Animals trilogy. I think the Animals trilogy is just fantastic. I think all three movies are just so good. But
Velvet, I haven't seen in a while, and I did all Argento in August because I couldn't find it anywhere, and then I found it on YouTube, and now I got to go back.
Babe the Crystal Plumage. The first time I watched that movie, I was like blown away.
Oh, that film pretty much ushered in all the giallos in the 70s.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't watch those movies until like literally about 2-3 years ago. Those three movies. I saw Suspiria years ago. Loved that, but wasn't really. I mean, this is like probably before like the internet really took off, so I wasn't really exposed to, Argento. You just if you're not before the internet, you're kind of like limited to like what you kind of experienced in magazines and TV. So it was just difficult to like discover a lot of this stuff. So it was with the birth of the internet and broadband, especially, getting fast internet speeds and streaming services, that's when a lot of these movies became readily available, to someone like me. Because as I say, if you're not, it's one thing having the internet and having all this information at your fingertips, but if you don't know what to look for, you never know. You're never going to know it's there.
Yeah.
So for the longest time, I was kind of like in my own. Even though I was online, I was in my own little bubble, in watching slasher movies and trying to research, dig up a lot of the old slasher movies from the 80s without really even knowing about the Animals trilogy from Argento. And I suppose even now it's like, because obviously, Indian horror is a thing now, and Lawrence mentioned it. Like he mentioned a few Indian horror films, but I had no awareness that these even existed, and because it's not something that's gonna like pop up as a notification on.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like unless somebody's talking about it, who you like, you follow. It's like that's never gonna get, because like Indian horror is not like Hong Kong horror or Japanese, where it became like a big cultural phenomenon. It's like it's still very much like an underground thing in the West. People aren't even aware of it, So
I mean, because you hear, and I think Japanese horror got more popularized, obviously, because of The Ring and the Grudge remakes and stuff. That's what really got more sex spots popping in here.
If those movies had never taken off, people would have been maybe none the wiser. But
even Italian movies and stuff, like, even I know a lot of big horror fans that either they can't get into Italian horror, or it took them longer to get into and appreciate Italian horror.
Yeah.
I think I saw my first Argento film maybe when I was my mid-teens, something like that. Suspiria and Deep Red.
It's probably when I watched Suspiria, probably a similar time.
Yeah. Opera is amazing. I love opera, and good to see Lorne loves Inferno, because I've kind of figured he'd say that.
Let's go to 71. We've got Raw from 2016. I've not. This is a film I am very much aware of. I still haven't seen this film. I know it's French, but not. I don't know. It just doesn't appeal to me.
I haven't seen it. It's been on my watch list for ever since it came out, basically.
Yeah, it's probably a movie that I should watch. It's just something about the film, just like never really sort of like made me sit up and take notice. But I mean, it is a film that I definitely expected to see, and it's a film like I'm well aware of. But number 70, we got Son of Frankenstein. Again, I definitely haven't seen this film. This is 1939. There's no way I've seen this film. Again, it's like this is like the first iteration of the Frankenstein, because you've got the Frankenstein movies from like the Peter Cushing era. Obviously, this is way before Peter Cushing era, because this is like he would have been very young at this point. So, again, I can't really say much about this film.
I don't think I've seen
it. Zombie 2, obviously. Fulci, obviously.
But I don't know. It does. I mean, I love Fulci and I love Zombie, but wouldn't crack my maybe B5 on my top 5 Fulci. Maybe.
So, Zombie 2 is the one with the shark, right?
Yeah. The shark first zombie scene.
Yeah, and the eyeball, but the glass shard as well.
Yeah.
Fulci. Is it glass shard?
Well, it's a wooden.
It's like a wooden stake, and it's just
it's great. He loves his eyeball.
You think it's going to pull away, and it just doesn't. It just keeps going.
I love that Italian horror, like Friday the 13th, like, or movies like that, slashers like that in America, like a kill would happen so fast and then it's over. Especially like Fulci, like he draws that shit out. Like you just, like, see her getting closer to the stake, and you know it's going through her eye, but then it goes back to like a shot of the stake, and back to her expression, and then getting closer, and he draws it out, so you know it's coming. But when it finally happens, it's such great tension. I love it.
68. We've got Dead and Buried. I have seen this film. I can't remember damn thing about it. I don't remember enjoying this film at all.
Yeah, it was like an early 80s slasher that I should give it a rewatch, actually. I don't remember the last time I saw Dead and Buried. I know it's on Tubi, because I just passed it like the other day.
I mean, it's got Robert Englund as a zombified town local, so
that's right, Englund's in it,
67, we got If Follows is 67. Okay. I thought that'd be higher, to be fair.
Yeah. I love it.
I love It Follows. I know you watched Smile recently.
Just the other night.
I kind of feel like Smile kind of plays into the same
I felt
as It Follows a little bit.
Felt a lot of It Follows vibes, and just with the whole curse following somebody and everything.
There's also a bit of a It Follows vibe to Barbarian as well, because obviously there's the Detroit scene where they go into like Detroit, and it's it's dilapidated, and
I could see that.
Yeah, Barbarian's obviously
huge Castle Freak vibes from Barbarian. Like I said, I think it was just like a Castle Freak in an urban area in Detroit.
So I thought that'd be higher. So I'm getting I'm like the last list I did, and when it was getting lower and lower, and like I didn't see Halloween, and obviously Halloween's going to be in this list because this is a horror movie list. The last list I did was just like greatest films, but getting really pissed at Halloween not being in it. But if Halloween's not in the top 50, man, I'll be pissed.
The Thing made that on the list, but Halloween didn't.
So 66, we've got Near Dark. Oh, Near Dark's classic, man. This should be higher for me. This should definitely be higher because Lost Boys is going to be higher than this. I'm thinking. And I think this is Near Dark is the best. I think Near Dark's the best vampire movie of all time. But
Near Dark is great.
But yeah, Lost Boys will definitely be higher.
Oh, it absolutely will.
But yeah, Near Dark. I love Tangerine Dream doing the score.
Yeah, Tangerine Dream. Listening to their music back in the day.
Oh, love Tangerine Dream. Bill Paxton's just so good in this film. It's like an Aliens.
Yeah.
You know, what was on like a collaboration? Obviously, you got like is it three or four of the cast of Aliens in this film? You got Lance Henriksen, you got Bill Paxton, and Vasquez. Vasquez as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Who looks totally different in this film. It took me for a long time. I didn't even realize it was Vasquez because she's just like dyed her hair and looks less like a bloke.
Yeah.
65. We've got The Beyond. I don't like this film.
It's my favorite Fulci.
I don't like this film. I don't like it. It's just, to me, it's just confusing and
basically, basically.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
Yeah,
that and I guess it was Gates of Hell over in Europe, or I don't know. They always have different names, but Gates of Hell, City of the Living Dead. That's my second favorite Fulci film, but The Beyond is just amazing.
I do like. I like some of the scene in the hospital where everyone's just like, it's just what the fuck's going on? I have no idea, but it's certainly effective in terms of like the gore, and just like the gross out aspects. But yeah, I just need a little. If I don't know what's going on, if I've got not even the slightest idea of what's taking place, it pulls me out of the film a bit.
I mean, there is a plot there, but it's just very thin.
Yeah.
Kind of almost feels like the scenes are just like put there in order, just like really crazy, bizarre sequences, which kind of adds to that whole like fever dream feel to it. Yeah. But oh man, I love The Beyond. And people always give Suspiria with the dog scene, how he turns on his owner. Yeah. Beyond beats that scene, man.
I do like that. I must say that is a good scene.
For a dog turning his owner, it's amazing with that.
64, we have got Cat People from 42, never seen. I know is that the movie that they remade in 82? Is that the movie with Nastassja Kinski from 82, Cat People?
I just know that's you have Anubis.
Yeah. So I've not seen Cat People from 1942. 1963, we've got Horror of Dracula from 58. Again, I may have seen it, but I don't know. Obviously, this is Peter Cushing, so I could well have seen the movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely Christopher Lee. I'm assuming Peter Cushing's in it as well, is he?
Vampire films, honestly, are probably some of my least favorite, like, subgenre of horror.
62 got The Omen from 76. Yeah, I'm surprised that's again definitely. Makes me wonder if The Exorcist is even going to be top 10. Maybe not. Yeah, Omen's just a straight up. I mean, this is one of those films that like I was exposed to like a really young age. Like I'm something like 5 or something, and just the scene where she jumps from the building. That's a bit like. Yeah, I probably saw that scene when I was too young. It kind of gave me nightmares for like about a week.
I think I wasn't 5, 6, but I was like maybe 8, 9 years old when I saw The Omen. I think my dad showed me The Omen, but what an effective scene that is, that hanging scene.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, it's just, and the child actor like really nails it. It's just like this.
Oh yeah,
he
really looks like the fucking Antichrist.
He does.
He pulled that off great. So I don't like the remake, the Omen remake. I forgot who they had play Damien in that, but nowhere near as creepy as the one who played in this.
Number 61, we have got Ginger Snaps.
That's the first video I did on my channel, was Ginger Snaps.
Seems to be a lot of like werewolf films in this list for some reason.
Catherine Isabel is just absolutely gorgeous. I love Catherine Isabel. The second Ginger is decent too. Actually, I like the second one.
I've never seen the sequel. It was very much it's so of its time as well. Just the way it's
late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, definitely. Even from the photo on the site, you can tell that movie is just of its. It's just. We'll do number 16 and we'll jump back in the chat. Number 60, La Diabolique. 1955. I've not seen that. I'm guessing it's French. Well, it's got to be French with that title. It's probably a movie that I probably would be worth. I mean, I don't know 50s French movies, like what they influenced in terms of, going forward, what they influenced by. I obviously don't know. I'm sure Lauren will give me an answer to that. We've got Jess in the chat. What's up, Jess? I'm sorry I've missed people. Because I'm doing split screen. I can't read the comments. So, and the sex bots are back in as well.
Yeah.
The chat is flying tonight, man. So, God, I've completely lost where I'm up to with the chat. Okay, so I kind of seem to have missed some.
No, Sean Deep Red hasn't shown up yet. We had Opera show up. It's the only Argento so far.
Okay, I'll just start from here. I'm completely lost with the chat, but yeah, I'll go past the sex bots and start from there. Shout out 69 Mega. Oh yeah, so yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yes, I'm not where I am now. Sex bots again. So I'm way. Oh wait.
I'm sure, Sean, if Opera was on there, which is one of my favorite Argento, I'm sure Deep Red will be on the list.
Lon says UHD is a far more stable format than Blu-ray, so it'll be more consistent experience. But I buy on price and how often I watch DVD, Blu, UHD all over the place in my collection.
That makes
sense. I'm glad you're doing that. I shoot for a Blu-ray on anything I can. I'm actually getting annoyed that 4K is getting prior on a lot of stuff lately. And same says it's a weird movie. Also says I've seen the remake, The Bad Seed, but not the 1956 one. A Dark Songs of Menace, but I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen The Host. Chris says Society deserved higher. Jess says The Bad Seed Does Rock. Ben says they have a Bad Seed remake that came out recently. Stars the girl from the new Ghostbusters.
Oh, did they? So what's that?
And same house says Friday the 13th is an okay movie, but I like the sequel more. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. A lot of people with Friday the 13th, it is one of those franchises where not that many people like the original over sequels. There's always a sequel that people like more than the original film, but whenever
they're different. Like if it was just Friday the 13th, the first movie, and we never had sequels and didn't get Jason and all that, I feel like it would, I don't know, hold up better. I don't know. I think it's Jason and the sequels overshadowed what the first Friday tried doing. Because that was the first one that I saw. It was the original Friday, right after Halloween. So it was like the second horror movie I saw. So it's always going to have a place like near and dear to me. But 4 just beats it for me. 2 also.
Chris says we are still here, confirmed better than Friday the 13th. Lauren says not even debatable. What a bet. Entertainment Hand says, I know people who like the original Friday the 13th the most. Well, Lorne certainly does. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people who do like it, but I just think that there's a lot of people who, 4 and 6 for me, just I constantly see them mentioned as like the two best in the series, and and I think a lot of people like 2 over 1 as well.
Yeah, I put 4 and 2 over the first one.
Ben says, I like how they did the ghost and we are still here. Same Hard Out is a movie I haven't seen. Lorne says, Hallmark releasing, which was the distribution arm of Georgetown Productions. The production coming to May Friday the 13th to distribution.
That makes sense too. I knew there had to be some type of reason that they fucking stole that kill.
Is The Nightmare the doc on sleep paralysis? I didn't read the bio for it, so it could be. That could be quite a terrifying documentary if that's the case, because I know that's quite a scary thing. Entertainment Highlight says, I know that a lot of people didn't like Hereditary, but I do. I think a lot of people do like Hereditary. I think I'm actually surprised.
And don't.
The Nightmare is a movie I've seen advertised to me to watch on my Thursday, but I haven't seen it. Ben says, I've only seen Quarantine. It has a different ending than Wreck. The Cabin in the Woods is a movie I've seen, but I don't really remember it. Chess in the chat. What's up, Chess? Hope it's all good. Wreck 3 is a good time. Yeah, I need to see Wreck 2 first.
Wreck.
Haven't seen Wreck or Quarantine.
Definitely Wreck.
Yeah. Lorne's been. Ben says, I like Argento's latest Dark Glasses. I've yet to see that.
I still haven't seen it either. I gotta definitely see that. Especially, I've heard it goes back to his giallo roots.
Yeah.
I think Lorne said it was probably his best since Stendhal Syndrome. I think Lorne said
that. Henry is just Disturbed movie. Definitely deserves to be on the list. Definitely. Dark Glasses is solid.
Yeah.
Good call about the 80s being a bit rougher. I grew up, could be sketchy at times. Yeah, I think a lot of people could say that about where they grew up. Certainly, certain parts of in the 80s, certain parts of the US, certain parts of the UK weren't the best. Inferno is 1000% comfort food for me. Love it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen or heard of Opera 1987. Definitely, definitely
watch Opera. Yeah. Great movie.
Love the people killing Opera.
No, it's so good. That whole movie is fantastic.
Sexbot. I don't know about that. I can see any Indian movie that comes out in the theatre. I can't say that about Japanese films.
Never got big on Japanese horror either, really.
If you're a bot, why would you only boast an 84% success rate?
Because I didn't want to interrupt. Funny as hell.
Ben says, I just read an article in Fangoria about the Indian Doom Boo movies. Need to seek them out. God, there's too much chat. I can't keep up. I'll have to jump back in. I'll try and catch up with it again in a bit. I'll maybe just like catch up at the very end with every comment. But so let's jump back in. So we're up to number 59 now. So 59 is Misery from 1990.
Oh.
A movie I totally forgot about, to be fair.
Yeah, like it should be a little there, honestly.
Yeah. Again, it's like I wonder how much Stephen King representation we'll get. We'll probably get it chapter 1 from 2017, I would imagine.
Do that for sure.
Maybe get the TV movie from 1990. Maybe not. Obviously,
91 is such nostalgia for me, but when you go back and watch it, it's not a good movie.
No,
it's not good at all, except for Tim Curry.
Yeah, I'm expecting The Shining to be top 10. Realistically,
sure.
I just can't see that not being in the top 10. 58, we've got Trick or Treat from 2007. Obviously, much loved by the horror fans.
Sam.
Yeah, the movie that's everyone calls for a sequel, but it's almost like one of those movies that it's probably best to be left alone. And
that's how I feel. I don't think there's. I mean, of course, you can go anywhere with a sequel to it, but I feel like it's a great standalone anthology.
Yeah, it'd be more likely a reboot now. It's been that long, it'd be more likely to just reboot it and probably butcher it. And
nowadays, 15 years is enough time to remake or reboot a fucking movie.
Look at Spider-Man.
Yeah,
they've rebooted Spider-Man 3 times in 20 years. So
yeah, exactly.
Sorry, going away. Number 57, We Need to Talk About Kevin. I've not seen We Need to Talk About Kevin.
Yeah, that one's great. Swinton's great in it.
Yeah.
And it's a cool school shooting, crazy movie.
Yeah, I know the premise. I just totally was off my radar when it dropped, and I've never really found the time to check it out. But I'm sure that it's very well. I mean, Tilda Swinton's she's not like an actress who appears in shit. It's like so.
Just in the Suspiria remake, she was amazing in that too. And most recently,
56. Never heard of it. Oni Baba from 1964. This is Japanese, I'm guessing, judging by the director's name, Kinito Shindo.
I've never heard.
Can't comment on that, I'm afraid. 55 is Starry Eyes. Yeah, this is
I was surprised that you made it on here, especially this high, because it's not. I don't know too many people that are familiar with it.
I watched it on I think it was Plex in the UK, which I don't know if you guys, it's a bit like Tubi. It's got ads, but it's like 3 movies. But brutal. There's a really brutal like kill towards the end, isn't there? Where she's lying on the bed and she just
Yep. That's it. It's a great movie that I don't hear talked about often. Like much as it should be talked about. Because I saw it, I think, the year it came out, because I think they played it on IFC on demand. I saw a lot of good movies back in like the early 2010s, like on IFC on demand. Lauren loves Star. Yeah, Star is great.
54 got this is a Stone Cold classic, The Vanishing from 1988.
Good.
Fantastic movie. Have I seen the remake? Oh, I've seen the remake recently with Jeff Bridges.
The remake.
Yeah, I totally. I mean, it's not bad. It's still a solid film, but it pales in comparison to this film. This film is just a fucking classic movie. I mean, they tone it down in the American remake. They go for the happy ending.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas in this,
they do a lot. Change the endings for American remakes to happier endings, not bleak endings.
What in the American version, like what accents is Jeff Bridges trying to do in that film? Because
I didn't see the remake.
Oh, sorry. In the chat, people in the chat, like what Jeff Bridges' accent in that film is just like bizarre. I don't know what he's aiming for. It just seems like he's trying to like. It kind of sort of veers from like American to European, and I just can't grasp what he's trying to achieve. I don't know if it's, but I like the film. I do like the remake, but it's not on par with this. This film is just an absolute stone cold classic. 53, we've got Black Sabbath from 63. This is a film I only saw maybe about 2 years ago. I know you like this, right?
Oh yeah. I just covered it. Absolutely, it's an anthology.
Yeah.
I like Ava is fantastic.
I like the first story, but I'm not a big fan of the final story. And
well, I know that there's different cuts. Because I know one of them has they're at
the phone. I like the phone with the phone.
Yeah, that was like
that's my favorite.
And then there was the second one with the Wunderluck or whatever they called it.
Yeah.
And then there's the one with the drop of water with the creepy ass fucking corpse. It's like one of most creepy ass looking faces on a corpse ever. Yeah, I'm glad that we finally got some Bob on here.
52 is We Are What We Are, which I've never heard of. Yeah, I've never heard of this film. It's based on it's cannibalism.
Always fun.
So yeah, honestly, can't honestly say I've heard of that film. So 2013 as well. So 9 years old, and I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, no, me neither.
51 is Scream from 96. No introduction needed for that one.
Me to say about it.
I thought this would be higher, to be fair. I thought this would be top 40.
Not a Scream fan at all.
I love Scream. I do love Scream 1. I love Scream 2.
I just, it never, even when it first came out, never was a fan of it. Like I there's some things in the first one I like the whole opening with Drew Barrymore is great. And I think the most clever thing in that movie is when they're watching Halloween at the party at the end, and Jamie Kennedy, his character, is on the couch alone, and Ghostface is coming up behind him, and he like, Jamie, you know, he's saying, I think for me,
you're breaking up a bit, JT.
So,
you're breaking up a bit, JT.
One.
Yeah, you're breaking up a bit. Has he froze? Is JT frozen for everyone else or just me? Yeah, JT is frozen. Yeah, is it just
Skinny puppy?
You're good.
I never got into Skinny Puppy. Yeah, you froze for a sec.
Oh, I thought you froze. You froze for me.
You were freezing for me. It's better. All right, I'm frozen. Good. Now.
Yeah.
Harder.
Yeah.
That's what happens. I'm too on the stream or whatever. Yep. Am I no longer a skinny puppy?
Are you good now? You been?
I see you good. I hear you good.
Yeah, no, you froze. You were freezing. Yeah, you were freezing a little bit then. So you can't for the last like 2 minutes. You kind of just break it up. Yeah, it seems to be good now.
Yeah, it should be better. All right, cool.
Okay. Back to the list. Number 50, we've got The Orphanage from 2007. Not a big fan of the film. To be fair. I know it's artistic and a lot of people like it. It's not really for me, but you know, it is what it is. I know a lot of people would probably. Uh, 49, Eyes Without a Face from 1960.
That's a good one. That's a classic.
Yeah, I've not seen it.
Ever.
I've not seen it.
Just her face alone stuff is iconic at this point.
48, we've got The Descent.
Speaking of,
I knew this would be
movies with in America that's a happier ending. So that's one of them. It has the original ending in theaters, and then it had the American ending that just was a lot less bleak than the original ending, which I do not like the American ending at all.
Neil Marshall, obviously, who recently did The Lair. This is another. It's like it's a British movie, but feels American. You know, because they take it some American actors and they film it because it's meant to be set in America, right? But it's a British movie.
I think so.
I think it's.
I'm not sure where it's actually.
I always took that it was meant to be set in America. I was meant to be set. They were meant to be pop, but maybe I'm wrong. I just because isn't Janet? Isn't
well in the sequel actually the cops or whatever that they bring down to the cave to try to find the rest of them, which I think is so stupid that they're bringing a girl with amnesia down to the same fucking cave that she just came up from. But I'm pretty sure they had English accents and American accents, so I'm pretty sure it did take place in America.
Yeah, it's just with Neil Marshall, like with The Lair, that is like most recent film. You know, he uses like British actors to do American accents, and so you kind of end up with this like kind of like this weird like mishmash of like you're not entirely sure where they're meant to be or who they're meant to be, and it's
that's probably couldn't think of where it takes place.
Yeah. 47. We've got Videodrome, Cronenberg.
Great.
It says 85 here. I'm pretty sure Videodrome is 83.
Yeah, sometimes they get the years.
I think they've got the year wrong there. That's definitely 83 Videodrome.
Yeah.
Unless it's definitely 83.
Pretty sure.
Videodrome, yeah. This is one of Cronenberg's high points for me.
Oh yeah, I love Videodrome.
I don't know if this is like the last, for me, like the last great film he did until History of Violence. Because stuff he did in the 90s, I'm not a fan of Crash.
Naked Lunch is a crazy one, but I love that one.
Yeah.
The Brood is one of my favorite Cronenberg.
Yeah, the Shivers, The Brood, and Rabid, like just Scanners. That run of films he did in like the late 70s, early 80s is kind of similar to Carpenter's. You know, it's just it didn't put a foot wrong.
Nope. Early Cronenberg was just fucking amazing.
46 Black Sunday from Bava.
Yeah, Bava, awesome.
I've not seen Black Sunday, so
yeah, Black Sunday is a great one.
45, we've got Don't Look Now, obviously. Nicholas Roeg. One of the most realistic sex scenes in horror film, and one of the biggest, sort of like what the fuck endings as well, and just like the death scene of the daughter as well, just like heartbreaking. Just
it's a crazy movie for 70s.
Definitely.
I gotta watch that. That's been a while.
44, we've got Repulsion from 65. I've not seen Repulsion. It's a film I probably should have seen, but I've not seen.
I haven't seen it in a long while, but it's good. And
I
remember that. It's kind of like just a great insight of someone losing their fucking mind.
Yeah, so again, so this is like a couple of months before, a couple of years, before Rosemary's Baby as well. So obviously, this was building up to that movie, and
which is weird. That's a classic that I never liked. Rosemary's Baby. That's one movie that I respect it for how
I like it, but I don't think it's one of those. It's of its time, and it's kind of gained this sort of like masterpiece level of sort of
exactly. Like I respect that level that it's at, but it just did it for me really.
43 we've
director.
43 we've got The Fly. Well, it's given us both versions. It's given us 58 and 86. So
it's kind of lazy. Just
I
can't remember the time I saw the original.
No, I've not seen the original. I've only seen the 86 version, so I honestly couldn't comment on the 58 version. But again, that's a movie for me. I've not seen that film in the longest time.
It's
The Fly from 86.
Not great effects, just like all of Cronenberg's earlier stuff.
I've just seen reference to The Blob. I'm just thinking, I don't think we're going to see The Blob in this list.
I'd love
we might do, but I don't think we're going to see it.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the 88 version as well.
Yeah. I feel like it would have been on the
Yeah,
list.
it would have been lower down. It was not going to be top 40, surely, but
Yeah,
maybe the 58 version, but I can't see that. I can't see the Blob being higher than the Fly,
yeah.
realistically.
No. I feel like we would have saw the Blob 88
Yeah.
if it was going to be on here.
42, we've got Carrie from 76. Yeah, we're definitely expected to see this in there. Fantastic movie, you know. Not have I seen the remake? I'm not entirely sure.
There were 2 remakes actually. There was TV remake with what the hell's her name? The girl who's in May. What the fuck's her name? I gotta look it up.
You got Carrie. Is it Carrie 2 from like the 90s? Is it or?
Yeah, there was a Carrie 2, and then there was a made-for-TV remake of Carrie. And then there was a one in 2013, I want to say.
Yeah, it's around that time. Around the same time as the Evil Dead remake, I think it was.
Yeah, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Angela Bassett, Lauren, thank you.
41, we got Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
That's one I got. And you brought that up a little bit ago.
Yeah, this is definitely this is a film I think I saw maybe about 10 years after the release, like maybe about 2016, 2015. It's kind of like one of those movies that kind of just became like a word of mouth thing. It was, I think it dropped, even though it came out in 2006, I think it was it kind of gained word of mouth over the
A lot of people were talking about this movie when it came out and for years afterwards.
Yeah.
It's definitely definitely has a cult following for sure.
Yeah.
And good reason. I really enjoy Leslie Vernon.
Number 40, we've got Evil Dead 2 from 87. So we had
We
had Evil Dead. Did we have Evil Dead earlier?
No, we didn't have any.
No, so we haven't had Evil Dead at all. Makes me wonder whether Evil Dead 2. Yeah, I'm sure
that'd be in like my top 20.
Yeah. I think we'll have to do is probably have to try and whiz through this a little bit now, because if I go back into the chat, it's probably going to take up way too much time. And I know Dan's going live in half an hour as well. I don't like to cross the streams, so so we'll try and like speed through a little bit. But I say I knew this. It always takes longer than I think. It takes a surprisingly long amount of time counting through a list of films when you've got a lot to say about them.
Oh, for sure.
But now we're getting into the business end of the list now. So 39, we've got The Babadook. I hate this film.
Yeah.
I hate this film. Hate the kid. The kid to me.
Yeah, it's very annoying, but I can see that. It's like Fulci's Manhattan Baby and House by the Cemetery, which I know, Lauren, you said was your favorite of that trilogy. That kid Bob, man, he has just such a punchable face. And it's similar with the Babadook, but I enjoy it. I think it was a good take on depression and all that shit that she's going through in the movie. And we got sex spots again.
It's okay. I'm not even looking at the chat, so I don't care. 38 Demons, 85. Yes.
No, classic.
Absolutely.
We'll be doing all the Demon movies and The Church next month.
Yeah. I actually maybe got a soft spot for Demons 2, maybe even more than the first one, but
I can see that. I know people.
I don't think we're going to see Demons 2 in the top
probably
35, like, but I mean, yeah.
But I do know people who like Demons 2 over the first one. I know a lot of people like The Church, which is pretty much like Demons 3 over the first Demons.
37 got what?
That's insane.
Halloween of 37.
37? That's fucking crazy.
Oh God, let me jump in the chat for that one. Halloween 37. Jesus. I thought that was going to be top 5.
Oh, for sure. That's crazy.
Mind blown now. Mind is blown with that one. What the fuck, man?
The thing ain't in the top 15 at least, then get the fuck out of here. But that's crazy. 37 for Halloween?
Yeah,
that's I don't even know what to say. Except for it's nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I can safely say we're not going to get another Halloween movie in the top 36 then.
Yeah, watch Halloween Number
unless
one.
unless there's a love for Halloween 3, maybe. I can't.
Beating Halloween 78 out.
So 36, we've got The Witch. I don't like The Witch. Pretentious,
Never
artsy,
never cared for The Witch.
nonsense for me. This is the sort of movie that it's like made to win awards.
It just feels like a slow burn, but it burns to nothing.
The thing as well, it's like it's because you've taken like this basically because it's set the time it's set. You've taken like this basically an English cast or like I think there's some Irish cast as well, and they've transported into like the States, you know, because this is obviously this is before the time of America. The American accent didn't exist in the 1600s, so it's basically English people.
Yeah,
but it's all that old thee, thy, you know, the way they spoke in those days, and
it just never worked
it
for me.
It's just I know that's how they spoke in the 1600s. It's the time of Shakespeare and that, but it just feels I don't know because the main guy in the film is like an actor I know from lots of other stuff, and see him saying "thou shalt," "thee shalt," I was like, I can't. It just seems so.
I've given it a few chances too. I've watched it maybe 3 times or so, and I can't get into it.
Yeah, I just don't like this. Is to me, this is like A24 when this is the A24 I don't really appreciate when it's.
Yeah,
you know, whenever I go into an A24 movie, there's always an expectation like it's going to be different. But there's always that possibility that it's just going to go down the road of being a little bit too smart for its own good, and I don't know. This is definitely a movie like that, which I just did not like.
I know we're on the outside of that too, because I know a lot of people who love The Witch.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean,
including like 4 or 5 in chat right now.
Yeah. It's just not for me. I mean,
it's the same.
I would never like. I can totally understand people who love the film. It's not like it's not like it's a good bad movie or a bad good movie. It's a movie it's well shot, it's well acted. But for me, it just doesn't draw me in. And
it goes back to like what I was saying for Rosemary's Baby. It's like that. It's for me. It's just like I respect it. I know how many people put that as an absolute classic. It just doesn't hit anything really for me.
It's the same when I watched the Fear Street trilogy. Fear Street. When they said that the third one was going to be set in the 1600s, I knew I'd hate it.
Yeah,
I just knew. And that was a really bad representation of 1600s.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I saw the third one. I know I saw the first.
Yeah, it's about 1 hour 50 minutes. It's too long and it's not very good. So, 35 Nights of the Living Dead from 68. This is interesting because Romero's probably going to have Dawn of the Dead almost certainly in the top 30, and possibly Day of the Dead as well.
Day of the Dead's my favorite of the original trilogy.
Like, I know to say Night is probably, you know, it's a lot of people, you know, who appreciate cinema will say, well, Night of the Living Dead is the best movie because it's one of the first zombie movies, and I don't think Night of the Living Dead is that great. I mean, I appreciate it for what it is, but I think it's dated. I much prefer Dawn of the Dead. I prefer Day of the Dead. I mean, over this film. I mean, I appreciate it for what it is, but I would never sit down and put this film on. Really, I've watched it a couple of times, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Is JC froze? He's not moving. Are you back? You all good? JC's gone. He's probably best actually if he does leave and then come back in. It might reboot things. Let's just jump back in the chat. Chat. I apologize for missing all these comments, and especially I'm sorry for missing 69mega.com's Find Love in Your Town Today. I haven't really got an answer to that one, 69mega.com. But 69mega.com, what are your thoughts on this list? I think Halloween being 37 is just bizarre. What do you think, 69mega.com? Sean says Phantom of Paradise actually shot. I love the Fury 2, best first adaptation. Yeah, I'm so far behind on the chat. I do apologize, but we're gonna have to try and race through things now. You back?
Back. Yeah.
Okay, man.
Figured that would happen. You know, battery's getting low, so I'll charge it again.
Okay.
But yeah, class.
Yeah.
I like Day is my favorite.
34, we have got The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari from 1920. This is probably the oldest film on the list. I've not seen this, obviously. 102 years old. I've not seen this film.
22 was the earliest one before.
Number 33, we've got The Sixth Sense.
I mean, I don't know if it should be this high on the list and above Halloween. But
I wouldn't play. I think it's a top 100 movie, definitely, but 33, no. Head of Halloween, definitely not.
I feel like it doesn't have a replayability, like rewatchability for me, really.
Yeah, I think you might rewatch it once to look for the signs, exactly. But after that,
I didn't notice this, I didn't notice that. But it's not really a movie I'd throw on pretty, every now and then.
32, we've got The Devil's Backbone from 2001, Del Toro. Again, not a film that I just can't warm to this film.
Big Del Toro.
I did expect to see it in the list, though. I did totally expect to see it.
Yeah.
Number 31, Elm Street 84, higher than Halloween. That's controversial. I know. So obviously we're not going to get Dream Warriors or Elm Street Part 2 probably, but
which this is my favorite in the franchise.
I mean, I'm surprised it's this high, to be fair. I mean, I'm not the biggest Elm Street fan, so I'm a little bit biased, but I thought this would probably be around like the sort of like 50s or 60s rather than 31, but
yeah.
Number 30, we've got
higher than I thought it would be.
Hellraiser 30, really? I mean, I'm not the biggest Hellraiser fan, so to place. I don't think any of us expected to see Hellraiser ahead of Elm Street or Halloween, realistically.
It's got his fans, though, for sure. Hellraiser just never did it for me.
No, I'm not the biggest. I mean, I actually like the new version quite a lot.
I had a good time watching it. The remake, and I like the first two Hellraisers, but again, I've never been huge on them.
Yeah. So 29, we've got The Wicker Man from 73. Obviously, I mean, The Wicker Man is definitely a classic. I don't think we'll see Nicolas Cage's Wicker Man in the top 20 somehow.
The Bees.
Arguably Christopher Lee's greatest ever movie, which is, saying a lot because he did a lot of good stuff. But I mean, this film is just the ending as well, so downbeat.
Oh yeah, it's probably one of the best cult movies.
Yeah,
like if not like right there, like at the top.
28, we've got The Change. Oh, this film I don't like it. I'm sorry. I don't like it. This film just bored me. It really did.
I can see it. It is slower paced.
It is slow. It's a slow burn. I don't. It's slow to the point of it's just crawling along. I understand. There's a need for a slow burn movie, every now and again, but this film just moves along at such a slow pace that I can't get on board with it. So, but
George Scott is just awesome.
I briefly jumped ahead then, so I know what the next movie is going to be, and it is going to be Suspiria.
Awesome.
So
I figured it would be not in the top 20, but right that below that.
I'm pretty sure this is probably going to be the only Argento film in the list.
Yeah.
We're not going to see anything higher than this, are we?
Yeah, no, we're not going to get, unless Deep Red they put higher, which we're tenebrating, but I don't think so. At 27, Suspiria probably going to be the highest Argento.
26, we have got Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Yeah, I mean,
that's a great one.
Yeah, definitely. The final shot of Donald Sutherland, that shot right there.
Yeah.
It's like being memed to death as well. It's just,
yeah, I know. Great movie. I know Sean Deep Red should be higher, but I don't know if we'll see another Argento.
Number 25, we've got The Haunting from 1963, not the 1999 remake with Catherine Zeta-Jones. This is the original. I mean, I've seen this film once, 20 years ago, and it does hold up. It isn't obviously, you're talking about a movie that's like 60 years old now, but it does hold up. But again, I'm surprised it's this high, to be fair. I mean, I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see a lot of 60s and 70s representation in this last 25 movies. I'm just wondering whether they're going to class Jaws as a horror movie.
Oh,
if they do, Jaws is going to be top 10 easily.
Yeah, sure.
24, we've got Peeping Tom from Psycho, obviously. Psycho is going to be there.
Yeah,
so,
Psycho,
top
8 probably.
So, Peeping Tom, obviously, a movie that basically ruined the career of the director. It was that controversial at the time.
Oh, yeah.
The movie, I think, came out the same year as Psycho, obviously, as well. And
it's one of the first movies to use, Lauren will know this, one of the first movies to use the POV, right?
Yeah, definitely. Often credited as being the first. I know it's not the first slasher film, but it's a film that is often credited with being. But number 23, we have got Get Out. This film for me it's constant. I mean, I like the film, but I always feel like they put this movie way up there in lists because of some sort of political agenda for me.
I know what you mean.
I just think it's there because of the message rather than based on anything else.
I think it's a phenomenal directorial debut, and I really do like the film. I think it's an excellent film, but I know what you mean. I see people putting it higher just because of the message in it, and I watch movies just to fucking watch movies, not to have messages. I mean, social commentary can be done right in movies. Done right often, but I feel like that one got way blown out of proportion when it first came out, even though I do think it is an excellent movie. And I do like Us better, actually.
Yeah, I actually do. Yeah, I think I don't think Us is it doesn't make as much sense narratively as Get Out. But I think it's a more fun film. I think it's just it's a more enjoyable, fun movie. I do like Get Out. I think Get Out Nope is just a bit of a strange one. Nope.
Yeah, I've only seen
letdown for me.
And I gotta watch it again before I even. I didn't even think I did a review on it or anything because I wanted to watch it again. I wasn't blown away by it the first time. I was like, I don't know about this one.
Number 22, we have got Day of the Dead from 1985. We'd be happy with this one.
Nice.
So we're going to get Dawn definitely in the top 20. I think it's safe to say.
Day is for me Tom Savini's magnum opus effects wise.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing effects in this movie.
I'm definitely surprised it's this high though.
I didn't expect to see it at all, actually. After night, I thought or Dawn, but I didn't think we'd seen Day, so that's happy. That's a good thing to see.
21, we've got Rosemary's Baby from 68. So, yeah.
We've talked about that one.
Yeah, we won't spend too long. Yeah, 6. So 21. I knew it'd be high, but maybe not this high. Number 20, we've got Reanimator 20, man. That is strange. I loved the film, but did anybody really think Reanimator would be the number 20 in the...
I saw it in the top 20.
Yeah, really?
It would probably be in the 20,
I thought it'd be down like in the 70s or 80s, to be fair.
Nah, that would be a disservice to Jeffrey Combs and Stuart Gordon. I fucking love Reanimator.
I don't like necessarily disagree with where it stands. Well, maybe a little bit, maybe 20 or 30. But I just thought with the list the way it was, I thought I never saw this film being this high. You know, when they've placed some of the most iconic horror films of all time. Like
Reanimator is fucking amazing.
Number 19, we've got Nosferatu from 1922.
Yeah, Chris Combs is like one of my favorite actors in horror.
Yeah. No surprise to see Nosferatu.
Yeah, no, I expected that.
Yeah,
20, sure.
Number 18, we've got Poltergeist. Love Poltergeist. Didn't think it'd be this high, to be fair.
Yeah,
this would be like maybe top 50, but not top 20. I do love it. I love it.
Also, I just feel, I don't know, I feel like it's it's not adult oriented enough, but it's not kid friendly enough. Does that make sense? Like
it doesn't really fit into any sort of...
like it's kind of just like right in the middle there of like a family friendly film and not intense enough to be...
It's probably it's probably a lot to do with the fact that it's allegedly directed by Tobe Hooper, but Spielberg has got a massive input. So probably got this
debate about it to this day on who shot what. But
it does feel like a Spielberg movie, to be fair.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Number 17, we've got Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, nice.
Wow. This is definitely... I definitely didn't see this in the top 20.
No. Great movie. Yeah, but I didn't see it this high.
No. No, Christian Hanahara, he thinks it's his favorite film of all time. So Christian would definitely be on board with this being so high. But I did not see this number 17, not in a long way. Number 16, we've got Eraserhead from 77.
Awesome.
Yeah, I watched this film back in it. I mean, it is one of those movies. It's not the sort of movie you can just sit down and watch, on a Sunday afternoon. You've got to be in the right frame of mind to watch it.
Whatever. That was the hardest video I've ever done, honestly, on the channel. Fucking an hour talking about Eraserhead at 3 a.m. It's fucking hard talking about Lynch, but oh my god, I love Lynch.
Yeah.
Not even one of my favorite directors, one of my favorite people, like on earth. He's such a humble guy.
Yeah. He's definitely got some wacky ideas as well, which I'm really on board with,
Oh, for sure. Twin Peaks is one of my favorite shows.
Yeah. Number 15, we've got 28 Days Later. I actually prefer 28 Weeks Later, to be fair. I think the sequel's better.
Number 2.
Yeah. I like
either cracking the top 20 though.
No. I do like this film, but for me it loses. I mean, I like it the opening half an hour, and then when he leaves London and he sort of like move up north to a more rural setting, it kind of loses a bit of it. That's why I like Weeks better, because it's just entirely focused on London.
Yeah,
the entire movie, and I just think it's a more solid movie.
Yeah,
we're getting to that point now where I'm just wondering whether it's been 20 years, so we might get a 28 years later in the next few years, because
I thought I heard somewhere that we were supposed to get a third movie in the series.
Because months wouldn't work. 28 months later, which wouldn't make any sense to me. It's too close to the original. So we're at a case now where it might as well make it years later.
Might as well, since it's getting there.
Number 14, we've got Kwaidan, which is a guessing it's Japan. It does, that image of the writing on the face looks familiar, but I've not seen it.
I haven't seen it. It looks familiar.
Yeah. Number 13, we've got Bride of Frankenstein from 35. I've not seen this film. I may have seen it. I may have seen a version from like this. Did they do it in the 60s as well? You know,
I'm not sure. I know I saw the original like when I was a kid, 8, 9 years old. That was probably the last time I even saw it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing there's a Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee version of this film, which I might have seen, but I've not seen a 1935 version. And number 12, we've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah. No qualms there. So one of the most iconic horror movies of all time. I mean, it's just the fact that the movie was kind of like, it just, because it was banned in the UK for so long, for like 20 years.
Crazy. Yeah, and there's not, there's like hardly, I don't think there's any blood in the movie.
There's very little. It's all suggested, but he puts it on the meat hook.
Yeah.
You don't really see any. You don't really see anything. It's just, maybe the wheelchair kill. You maybe see.
A lot of people like that I've talked to over the years that aren't big Texas Chainsaw fans. They remember it being a lot more gruesome than it is at all. Like it's really not a gory or bloody film at all. It's just all suggestion, like you said, like how it's shot and framed and how it looks, and your imagination fills the rest in.
Number 11, we've got The Silence of the Lambs. More of a thriller for me, this film.
Stretch on calling it a horror film, but
yeah, I mean, I always regard this as a thriller than a horror film, but
performances, of course,
but so we've got top 10. So we know Psycho's going to be in there.
No, for sure.
So Dawn of the Dead's going to be in there, I'm assuming. The Thing's going to be in there.
It better.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty safe. I would say it's a safe bet. Possibly Jaws if they class it as a horror film. Apart from that, I'll probably see something now and I'll be like, oh, how did I not see that coming? But number 10, Medical Mirth in London. Yeah, I've got no issues with that.
No,
Love the film. Fantastic film. Oh, I've missed.
Amazing effects.
Yeah, I mean, I the people who say that The Howling is a better werewolf movie than this, I'm just like, I don't think so. I don't see it.
American Werewolf in London beats it for me, but I do love The Howling a lot.
Number 9 is The Innocents of 1961. I've not seen this film.
No.
So I can't comment. Number 8, we've got there's Dawn of the Dead. So number 8, Dawn of the Dead. Yeah, so
all 3 of the
Romero got 3 of the Dead films in the top 30.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my favorite of the Dead films, to be fair.
Yeah, I can see it's most people's. I wouldn't say most, but a large majority. I think like Dawn the most.
And it's a long film as well, but it doesn't feel like a long. It takes its time.
Yeah.
It's especially the it's like there's various cuts of the film, but the longest cut of the film, it's like over like 2 hours, 15 minutes or something. It's like
it's decently long for what you think for a zombie movie.
Number 7, we've got they've classed. So here's my issue now. If this has been classed as a horror film, then I think this should be number 1 because Jaws is my favorite film of all time. So yeah, I think Jaws is the greatest movie ever made.
It's fantastic.
So yeah, I think it's definitely looking like
no problem.
I think looking like Psycho's gonna be number 1. That's the way I'm looking at it. But yeah,
Psycho. Yeah, I don't know. Definitely The Shining, Psycho in the top 3.
Oh, The Shining, of course. Shining, we haven't touched Shining yet.
Those got to be in the top 3.
Number 6, we have got Let the Right One In.
That's a great one. Love
it's
that.
It's a great movie, but
not number
put
6.
It top 10.
No, I wouldn't put it that high. But I think it's one of my favorite vampire movies.
Yeah. Yeah, there seems to be a bit of a vampire sort of
yeah, like
in this list. There seems to be a lot of it. They like the werewolves, they like the vampires. Number 5, we have got The Thing. So there's The Thing.
Okay. Should be number 1, but it's all right.
Well, you've done well. You've got your boys there, number 5. That's not too bad.
You got Eraserhead on the list. I didn't even expect to see it on the list.
So yeah, I think The Thing at number 5 is somebody no one's got an issue with. It's like number 4, we have got Psycho's number 4. I thought that'd be number 1.
It's got to be Exorcist, Shining.
So yeah, Exorcist and Shining in the last 2 of the 3. So number 3, so Psycho's number 4. Let's go to number 3. Number 3 is Alien. Okay. I totally forgot about Alien.
Yeah, actually, me too.
Because I'm thinking sci-fi. So I suppose obviously it's horror, but I didn't think it's yours as well because I was thinking.
Yeah.
So so it's The Shining, and then
never cared for the sequels.
Yeah,
honestly.
So it's between what was the other one? The Shining
and Exorcist. I'd say Shining number 2 and Exorcist 1.
Yeah, I'd go with that. So number 2 is The Shining. So yeah, Exorcist is number 1.
Yeah.
Again, I've got no issues. I like The Exorcist, but for me, it's not. It wouldn't make my top 20. To be fair, The Exorcist.
Yeah.
The Shining would, not The Exorcist. Let's just make sure The Exorcist is number 1. I'm sure it is. It is, yeah.
Yeah. Because if not, then it wouldn't have been on the list at all. No.
Exactly. That would have been a bit bizarre, but so that is.
It's a decent list. Some questionable placements.
Some questionable choices, but I was pleasantly surprised by some of the choices. Some of them felt a little bit. Oh, we'll put them in there just for trying to be a little bit different. But again, if it's the writers of the website and they've just grouped together, then that's it. I think that's the thing.
The Exorcist 3 actually at all on the list. I was expected to see that one.
Yeah, that's the issue with, I think, when you get like websites or magazines when they just ask for like a general poll of like people who, it always ends up being pretty much the same. You always see the same movies in the top 10 and the top 20. You never really get any shocks, which
exactly.
But that was it. That was a fun little countdown, and
sure.
I've totally ignored the chat tonight, guys. I'm sorry. Try to jump on when I can, but obviously sharing the screen, and it would have gone on too long as well. So,
showing no deep red, and I figured once we saw Suspiria, unfortunately. But
Chris has horrible list. Thank you, Chris. I can imagine this list would definitely piss off some people, but then again, Return of the Living Dead top 20, there's definitely some random ones thrown in there, which I don't think everything is.
It was decent.
Yeah, Ringu wasn't on the list.
Yeah, Ringu wasn't on that. That was surprising, actually. Yeah,
All the Grudge. Yeah, there was. You know what? About that list as well, there was very little Japanese. A lot of the Japanese movies, J-horror, over the last 25 years. The Eye. What's that other movie from the early 2000s? It's like a J-horror movie. It's not The Eye. It's not The Grudge. It's kind of like 2002, 2003. Name escapes me, but another essential J-horror movie, and I can't remember what it's called. But it seems to be there wasn't much really in the way of J-horror, but which was a surprise. But
yeah,
trying to remember the name of that fucking movie from the early 2000s, which was
some definitely too high, some definitely too low.
Anyway, I'm gonna have to wrap things up, guys, because it's been we've gone for 2 hours 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and I need to go to bed. The chat's been immense tonight. We've had 13, 14 people in all night as well, which is just fantastic. Well, for everyone who was in the chat tonight, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Hit the like button, please.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Please hit the like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. I'm sure everyone is subscribed. And I will see you guys probably the end of the week. JT, plug your channel, man. What have you got coming up?
Just going through the Puppet Master franchise, that's been fun so far. A franchise I have not seen past like the third movie, so I'm gonna watch the fifth one after this, and I will be doing the Nightmare on Elm Street series and the rest of the Phantasm movies 2 through 5. So that's what's coming up in the next week or so, 2 weeks.
Nice. Everybody subscribe to your channel in the chat anyway, so there's no point doing all that. You know what this guy is. So I will see you guys probably. I'll actually, that's a lie. You'll see me tomorrow night on Piz's Patreon stream.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'll be on there tomorrow night. Hopefully, the internet holds up, and then probably the end of the week another live stream. But for everyone who jumped on tonight, thank you very much, JT. Always a pleasure, as always. I will see you guys later.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Bye, guys.